So I'm sitting down with an extremely amazing artist. Every single time that I'm on Instagram, his artwork continuously floods my timeline. And I mean, we have the Lakers loving his stuff. We have amazing amount of verified people, celebrities, influencers. He's gone to different rooms that we're not even able to. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Aaron. I draw, and the easiest way to explain what I do is I take circles and lines and make them into things.
Okay, first off, how you feeling?
Feeling great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I go and I look on your Instagram, and every single time I'm like amazed because you make drawing seem so simple and let me do it, and it's like horrible, right? Break down to me like kind of just that like origin story of like how you got to the talent that you have, because like I said, if I try it, not happening. You do it, it's like effortless. So like, when did that start?
Started when I was probably before I was able to walk. So my dad's an engineer, and he would always be sketching floor plans and blueprints, stuff like that. And I would always be bugging him, so my dad gave me a piece of paper and some crayons and handed me a newspaper and said, draw what you see on the paper.
Right.
So I would start drawing Garfield and characters like that. And then I started drawing when I was watching TV. And Scooby-Doo was like probably the first cartoon I was ever introduced to, which is why I got my nickname. And from there, I would draw in school. I was always that kid that got done with stuff really fast and early so I could draw more.
Yeah.
But I was also good, so teachers couldn't say anything because I was getting A's. So then they just let me do what I was doing. And the more I did that, the easier it got for me. And I was doing stuff and didn't realize I was doing it. So I have a habit of drawing upside down. Like if I'm bored and I'm like at a meeting or whatever, I will literally draw something upside down. And someone's like, "What are you doing?" Drawing. You're not drawing right. And then I was showing pictures like, "Oh, you are." So that sort of thing.
Okay. So clearly there was a point where it comes from the paper to digital. Like, what was that transition? What was your first tools on that? Like, break down that to me.
So that was a little bit of that was hard for me.
Okay.
And for me to say it was really hard.
Yeah.
In college, they were teaching us digital design, and they had us learning on cursors. I don't really have a cursor because I don't use them. So I had to learn how to, I guess, move it around and make it do all the stuff as far as showing up on the computer screen. And once I got a tablet and started learning slowly, because I had to look down because I still wasn't quite comfortable with what I was doing. Once I was able to draw by looking at the screen and I didn't have to look down, it was just from there to do whatever I wanted.
What in like looking back, what was one of the biggest mistakes that made you have the style that you have right now? Like, there's something that you did that, okay, I did it, it doesn't look that good, something happened and you're like, okay, I figured out my style, that's it.
I didn't use detail at the beginning. I was just drawing stuff, and it didn't look like the person because there wasn't any detail for shading and even the color blends. I wasn't doing that. I was drawing flat drawings.
Yeah.
And the first time I did an illustration, I want to say it was Martin Lawrence, got several thousand views. I was like, I'm gonna start drawing like this.
Right,
it takes a little bit longer, but people are seeing it, and I'm getting famous people replying. I'm like, okay. So I started going from there and just kept doing it, and it got easier and easier.
Do you remember the drawing that got you your first paid gig?
It was either something involving Delta or the illustration I did of LeBron. It was one of those two. I can't remember which one.
Talk to me about that kind of story. Like,
so I did I feel like it was Delta because I did a picture of a 747.
Yep.
I had a friend, I didn't know at that time, but a friend that worked at Delta, and he sent me a message like, "Hey, would you like to do a project for Delta?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" It was based on a book called, what was it called? It was a book where it's like a zoom out, and so one picture becomes another, but it's like each page is like a bigger and bigger and bigger scene.
Yep.
Probably the biggest check I ever got, but it also took me the longest to complete it. It was 8 images, got paid a shade under $10,000 for the gig.
That's amazing. As much as you you create, right? What are some of the favorite tools that you use?
For drawing, it's always going to be Adobe Animate.
Okay.
As far as when I'm coloring stuff, Photoshop, just because I don't like coloring personally,
Yeah.
and where I can just hit a button and change the colors, everything's great.
Okay.
And now I'm like cutting videos. I forget what I'm using, but I grab the link and I'll cut it and then add in to whatever it is I'm doing.
I like that. And then last question, for looking back at when you first started, what would you tell your younger artist self?
Be more consistent. Because when I was younger, or not younger, younger version of me, I was posting whenever I got good and ready, but it wasn't consistent. It was like maybe one a week.
Yeah.
If it was basketball season, I might post more because that was what I was really interested in. But
Yeah.
if I had been doing now what I'm back then, I'd probably be a lot further along.